Today we're back at a custom home that we're building in the Vineyards for one of our clients. And we're getting really close to turning this home over, and we thought today would be a good time to kind of go through some of the details that we did specific to this client that shows how, as a custom home builder, our process throughout construction and what you can expect as a homeowner when you work with us at Costner Building Group. Look forward to taking you on that journey today. Follow along. Every day, our construction managers do a daily log. And in the daily log, you're gonna see the good, the bad, and the ugly. We have a transparent process where we talk about what is actually going on to the job site. So we happen to be here on a Monday, so on Friday and continuing today, the electrician is here hanging the light fixtures, and we have light fixtures set out right here, ready to be installed underneath the cabinets. So on the daily log, it listed the electrician was here. It listed that the trim carpenter is here. For today, it's going to list irrigation being dug right now for the irrigation line from the well into the house. And so that is currently being dug. And so if there was a mistake or some type of issue, then that would also be listed, because it's not only the communication that we have between us and the client, and that is more of a secondary. It's more of a log of everything that has happened on that job. And it helps us communicate from the office to the field, but also from the field back to the office, and make sure that everybody is working with the same information and we're moving towards providing that custom home to you. One of the things that separates Costner Building Group from many other custom home builders is that we check and we test relentlessly, and we are a big component of checking and testing. So on the daily logs, one of the things that this client has noticed within the past week is that we rejected 2 can lights for being dented upon arrival. We rejected the stone for showing up as the wrong stone, and we also rejected some hardware. While it showed up correct in that it was the right look, it was the right shape, it was the right color, it was the wrong size. So while in this home you have some that are 7 inches, you have some that are 10, you have some that are even larger, right? So we had too many of a too large of size and not enough of a smaller size. So we rejected those pieces of hardware, have already alerted the supply house that they sent us the wrong order, and they are in the process of getting that swap back out, so it'll be put back on. So that is something that the client sees. So there's no reason to have alarm. There's actually a comfort in knowing that we are watching your job site and we have seen a problem and we're in the process of working on it. So the daily logs isn't meant as something that every day you're gonna see a solution. You may just see a problem. Hey, we noticed something, we're not 100% sure. The other day, we noticed that this top and this, these 3 shelves were not stained the exact same color. They were close, but they weren't the exact same. But as you can tell, it's dark in here. It's hard to see exactly if it is, but we just noticed, hey, we're not sure, so we're gonna have a conversation about it. But it's just one of those things that we show that we're working on it, we see it, and we're gonna make sure that we get it right. Behind me here, you can see the can lights in the ceiling on the rear porch. And when we installed the rear porch ceiling, everything looked fine. But once the can lights were installed, we noticed that the ceiling was actually just a little bit askew. We put a laser on it to confirm, is it the lights that is off or is it the ceiling? We found out that it was the ceiling. So we made the siding contractor come back, take the ceiling down and put it back to where it now matches, and the lines of where the can lights and the bead on the beadboard ceiling match up perfectly all the way down the line. Our construction manager on this project received the wooden vent covers that this client specifically picked out and wanted to have put into their home, and noticed that when you pick it up and you cover it, and mind you, it hasn't been trimmed out, so it's not 100% done, you can see right through it. And so we went ahead and took the extra step of making sure to paint back in here black. And so that way, when it is all said and done, it's just gonna be black, and you'll be able to see through it. But because it'll be black behind there, it'll blend away and it's something that won't catch your eye. And so this is just another detail to show you that we wanna make sure that we get it right. And there's a lot of things that we're gonna think about that ultimately our client isn't gonna notice for many, many years. And if we didn't bring this up, and I'm not even sure if we have brought it up to the client other than in the daily logs, they probably would never know. But it's one of those touches that we wanna make sure that it's just hidden away and it's done right. And so we feel confident and we can put our name behind it. One detail that was very important for this client was making sure that the refrigerator panel, the refrigerator trim was equal with the drywall, and then the door casing stood proud on either side. So we, after framing it up, and we didn't understand exactly what she had meant initially. So we had framed it to where the refrigerator would sit proud, or the trim would sit proud, and then the refrigerator door would sit equal with the trim. But upon seeing it, she noticed and said, no, 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 I want this back. So we cut into it and we have framed it properly, so where it trims out to where this is smooth and flush right across, so that the face of the trim, the face of the drywall, and the face of the refrigerator will all be perfectly in line with the door trim standing proud. This detail is one that just shows that in custom construction, it's ultimately your home, and we want to make sure that we're getting it right for you. And so while we thought that what we heard was one way and what was in the client's vision was another, we put it back to where it is exactly what the client's vision wants it to be, because ultimately it's your home. We want you to be happy with your home. We're currently standing upstairs in the unconditioned attic space, and every client has a different wants, needs, and desires for their attic space. This client wanted a lot of storage, and so if you look over to my right, you can see that we have batt insulation, and then we're going to have blown insulation on top of that to get the R value that we want for this home. But because we knew we were going to have storage here, we weren't able to do that. So I'm standing on top of plywood, but what we did was we have batt insulation, then we have 2 inches of rigid foam board, so that where we're standing and where the blown insulation is going to be the same R value. And so we're able to get storage here and have your traditional unconditioned attic space over here. We're also in the process, because we had to use the ductwork, we had to get it on this side. We're building a custom chase that we're going to build around it, and then we will stuff it with insulation. So this will be conditioned and have just a little box here that'll kind of be like a little shelf that the client could put some stuff on. They're planning on having racks in here across all the sides. And so we're also in the process of taking OSB and we're ripping it to 4-inch, and we're going to put it around the wall as a railing. It does multiple purposes. One, it provides a code railing so they don't fall into the unconditioned attic. And then the second thing it's going to do is it's going to give them an anchor point, so they don't have to worry about where their racks line up with the studs. They can put it wherever they want. They just go right into the OSB. So throughout construction, we have bi-weekly walks and meetings with the client. Now, not every bi-weekly meeting is at the job site, but most of them are. And so during the early phases of construction, during one of those bi-weekly walks, the clients determined that this room really would fit their needs better if, instead of having the closets back here, they wanted it along the front and pinned around the windows. So because we hadn't framed it up yet, it wasn't a big deal to go back to the architect and engineer and say, hey, we don't want the closets here, we want them there. What, if anything, do we need to do? They said, just put a header in, make it a cased opening, and you can easily do that, because this wall was not structural in any way, but we did need to put something to catch the roof on the back side. So we did that, and now we have the closets on the other side. So when the client moves in, they're planning on having a golf simulator here, but this really allowed them to have more space coming off of the door to where they felt more comfortable having their golf simulator right here. Now, because we do those bi-weekly meetings, we were able to change something on the fly and ultimately provide a better home for the clients than what was originally drawn on paper. While yes, they had approved what was drawn on paper and they thought that's exactly what they want, once they kind of got to see it a little bit, they noticed, you know what, this isn't working for us. It's just a change of from one point to another, didn't change any time, effort, nothing other than it's installed now exactly where the client wants it. Throughout estimating, one thing that we have proposed to many of our different clients to save money is to use a manufactured vanity that comes with the vanity, the top, and the sink, and the holes are already pre-drilled. A lot of these vanities are priced anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000, and that includes the vanity, the top, and the sink, and the holes, where a comparable custom-made vanity would cost about $2,000. Then you're going to have about $900 to $1,200 for your countertop, and then you have about $300 for your sink, and then you have about $50 per hole that you're going to drill out. And so by buying this as a pre-manufactured vanity, you don't really suffer in quality as long as you buy a really good one. There's not as many options. You know, this is the configuration of this. Now there's hundreds of these pre-manufactured vanities that we have installed. And so, but we do offer this as a value management idea, because a lot of times in our secondary bathrooms, clients, they don't care exactly what this looks like as much and would rather take that money and spend it on something a little bit more personable to each client. So instead of getting the vanities custom made and brought to us, we buy them and they're in boxes such as this. They're very heavily packaged and secure, and it comes to us in crates. And so we break the crate down and then we'll install it in its forever home. So another thing that we try to do is to schedule everybody in the sequence. And a lot of times, building a house is not like baking a cake. You don't necessarily have to go in the same order every single time. There may be a way that you'd like to go in this order for various reasons, but it doesn't have to go in that order every single time. So we adapt our schedule to the weather because we have to. And so as you can see behind me, it has been raining a lot. And so over the past week or so, we have been dealing with challenges with the weather. So typically we would paint, because this home is going to have painted brick, we would paint the brick and the lap siding before putting up all of the light fixtures. However, we need to continue and make progress. We don't want just the job to sit because it's wet outside. And like right now, we could be hanging light fixtures, but we couldn't be grading because it's too wet. So what we have done is we have already hung the light fixtures. We have already installed the steps. We have done things that we can go ahead and get done, and then when the grading is done, we can continue other portions of the project. We had the landscaper out today who was cutting a trench in for us, and he cannot be out here planting the landscaping because it's too wet and the final grade hasn't happened. But there are parts that we can get him to do today that isn't going to be affected by that. And so we make sure that we're in communication with our subcontractors on a daily basis and sometimes on an hourly basis, because unfortunately we're not inside of a conditioned, sealed environment where we control the environment 100%. So we have to work with the environment to build the home. But we really don't like sitting around and nobody being on your job site. Now that does happen from time to time, but we do everything we can to ensure that we have people on the job, moving the job forward every day. Sometimes when we make those decisions, the trade that got leapfrogged does have to make special provisions. In this case, they're gonna have to protect the stone. They're gonna have to protect those light fixtures, but that's a very small price to pay for the progress of the project moving forward. Today we went through the ways that we communicate in the process of building a home with Costner Building Group and some of the things that we do to differentiate ourselves from our fellow custom builders, such as our daily logs that we show you the good, the bad, and the ugly, such as monitoring and testing everything as much as possible, and many of the other steps that we do to ensure that we get a custom home that you love. Here at Costner Building Group, we build better so you can live better. Remember to like and subscribe. See you next time.